This evening, we're going to start with a little riddle. Now, I know it's been a beautiful day outside that I give God and that little groundhog a lot of credit for this day. But I just want to make sure you're aware and you're alert. Maybe you spent a lot of time outside, and so maybe right now you're a little tired. So let's just see if you get this riddle. Let's take a look at the riddle itself. So psychologists agree that people just can't keep one thing. What is the one thing that people can't keep? Exactly right. Say that a little louder. Let's see if that turns out to be the answer. Let's look for the answer here. The one thing people can't keep is the secret. You know, that turns out to be the simple, clear, concise message of today's gospel reading. You got to always be careful what you put on Facebook or Twitter or Snapchat. If you share a secret of yourself or someone else, you put that on a media platform, you can't get it back. Now think about it. Maybe you've been hurt by a secret you shared with someone, and they decided to share that secret with someone else. And that really hurts. You almost feel betrayed. Because the secret shared is going to be shared elsewhere. Now, it turns out to be the propensity to share secrets. That's nothing new. That's been going on from the beginning of civilization itself. And it also happens in today's gospel reading. Now, the gospel today comes out of the first chapter of Mark, verses 40 to 45. And not to be redundant, but just give a little recap of the gospel reading itself. In the gospel reading, this leper runs up to Jesus, kneels down before him, and he said, Jesus, if you will to do so, you can cure me. Now Jesus, moved with pity, touches the leper, and he in fact was cleansed. Now Jesus is going to ask the leper just to do one thing. I did all this for you. I just wanted you to do me one favor. Let's take a look at verse 43. Again, this is coming out of the first chapter of Mark. And it starts off by saying, he said to him. So identify that little part. That would be Jesus said to the leper. See that you tell no one anything, but go show yourself to the priest and offer for your cleansing what Moses prescribed. That will be proof for them. So Jesus is saying, leper, don't say a word to anyone. Just show yourself. Now the leper was excited. He was dealing with leprosy. And sure, he probably wanted to tell someone, but Jesus said, just show yourself. That's all you got to do. You see, leprosy was a flaking, a scaling of the skin. It covered the largest organ on our body, and that's the skin itself. And when you had leprosy, you couldn't cover it enough. Leprosy covered you from head to foot, all the way to the ends of your extremities. It just covered your entire body. This flaking, scaling, it was painful. Now, a lot of lepers would try to cover the leprosy because it was contagious. When someone approached you and you looked at them, you could tell right away they got leprosy. Maybe their body is just about all covered, but you could see the tips of their fingers, and you'd just step back and say, no, don't get too close. You got leprosy. If someone was cured of their leprosy, and you knew they had leprosy in the first place, and that person approaches you and they're cured of their leprosy, you look and you'll be stunned, you'll be shocked. They don't have to say a word to you. You just looked and realized they're cured of their leprosy, because you could tell it just by looking. So Jesus said, don't tell anyone anything what I did for you. Just show yourself. Now, how does the leper repay Jesus? Let's take a look at verse 44. Again, out of the first chapter of Mark. Now the leper went away. The leper was just cleansed of leprosy. He went away and began to publicize the whole matter freely. He spread the report abroad, so it was impossible for Jesus to enter town openly. So what did he do? He decided to blab. Exactly right. He's just telling everyone. Jesus said, don't tell a word, but he publicized the whole matter. Jesus realized if you tell them that I did it for you, they're going to come to me and I'll have to leave this town. That's exactly what Jesus does. But in the gospel reading, Jesus has to go to deserted places because the leper could not keep a secret. Just show yourself, but don't speak the words. You see, secrets are secrets for a reason. Because it's something that you don't want anyone to know about. Now, there's a good chance here this evening that everyone here has a secret. So I give you the opportunity. Who here would like to stand up and share their secret? Anyone? I guarantee you, if you share your secret with us, it's going to stay right here. You know, there was this priest. He had a parish. And he was losing members to his church. They were stop going or start going somewhere else. He wasn't sure. But every Sunday when he would say Mass, he would see less and less people. He got worried. He's trying to figure out, how do I get the people back in my church? I got to come up with something, some way to get people back into my church. So he came up with an idea. One day, toward the end of Mass, he walked over to the podium, and he looked at those who were still there, and he said to them, I have a secret, and I'm going to share it with all of you. I'm going to share part of the secret today, and I'll share part of the secret next Sunday. And he said to them, now, here's the secret. He said, I find it difficult to say this to you, but I have to. And he looked at the congregants that were still left there in church, and he said, my secret is this. I have been in love with another man's wife. I mean, people were sitting at the end of the pew. Some of them said, oh, slow down, Father. What was that? He said, I am in love with another man's wife. And if you want to know who that woman is, I'll tell you, but you got to come to Mass next Sunday. Now, it turned out to be his little trick worked. All week long, those parishioners are trying to figure out who this lady is. Father's going to tell us the big secret. So the following Sunday, the church is absolutely jam-packed. Standing room with more people at that Mass than on Easter or Christmas. Everyone's there. Well, the priest decided he's not going to tell them the answer until the end of Mass, because if he tells them at the beginning of Mass, they're all going to leave. And he wants to try to figure out how to hold on to these people. So toward the end of the Mass, he walks back over the podium, and at this point, people's ears, man, they perked up. They're sitting right at the edge of the pew. They cannot wait to hear this answer. And the priest said to the congregants, he said, as I told some of you last week, it's amazing how many people showed up tonight. He said, I am in love with another man's wife. And I'm going to tell you who that is. And they are really, really excited to find out who this gal is. He said, I am in love with another man's wife. It's my dad's wife, my mother, my mom. I guess in many ways I could say that as well as he. And they all looked at each other and thought, oh, that's so disappointing. We were hoping for something really juicy, like a nice juicy steak. But you know, that is the idea of a secret. You know, again, you have your secret. Everyone has a secret. And you hope your secret stays with you. And when you decide to share your secret or the secret that someone told you by someone else, and you put that on a social media platform, that does what? It ruins lives. It destroys reputations. And I was reading an article in Psychology Today magazine, which I mention all the time. But it turns out to be that as they examine younger folks, actually of every age, but it seems to be more of an epidemic with young. If things are put on the social media platforms about them by someone else, it becomes so embarrassing for many that sometimes they take their lives because it's so painful. You know, the gospel reading is really a message of the secret. Just keep it to yourself. That's all Jesus Christ asked that leper. Look, I cured you. And when a person looks at you, they're going to, especially if they knew you, they're going to know you've been cured. You don't have to say a word. Don't say a word. Just show yourself. I'm not saying to keep it a secret. Show yourself, but don't tell anyone I did it. But he decided to, which made Jesus run off to the desert. Because so many people showed up, he had to leave that locality. Just think about this. And I believe that this is the true definition of a friend and what it means not to have a friend. I'll leave you with this. A friend is someone who says to you, a friend, is someone who says to you, your secret is safe with me, and you know it is, because they are a friend. Someone who is not a friend is someone who says to you, Your secret is safe with me, and you know it is not.